Hi, Roman Daisel here, back with another video for the Lord of the Rings Battle Games in the World of Middle-earth series by Games Workshop. This week's topic is the very first box set that Games Workshop ever put out. It's the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring box set. It was released in December of 2001 at the same time that the movie came out in theaters in the United States. I was home from South Korea where I was teaching, and I was getting ready to head back in December of 2001. I happened to walk into White Oaks Mall, and I went into Games Workshop, and I saw this in their window, and I said, I gotta have that, because I've been dying for something like this since I was a kid. I used to use the backs of my old O-Pee-Chee hockey card doubles to recreate elves, dwarves, and men in large scale, because they just didn't have anything like this back then. So I used the different years, have different colored backs as different races. It's kind of weird, I know, but it's also worked. Anyway, I also waited over a long time for the movies to come out, ever since Ralph Bakshi came out with his movie. I loved it. I also loved The Hobbit by Bass Rankin, or Rankin Bass, and the Return of the King one was okay. So anyway, I read The Hobbit when I was 10 years old. I read Lord of the Rings when I was 14. So I've been definitely waiting for this for a long, long time. Anyway, looking at the box, the Fellowship of the Ring always had a green box, as you can see from these ones up here that I have. Those are the Fellowship of the Ring. The two towers are all in red. And then Return of the King and whatever came after was all either blue or purple boxes, or dark blue. So looking at the box again, you got stills from the movie. There goes my furnace. Every time I do this, the furnace comes on. Anyway, so you're looking at it, you got Gandalf the Grey up there. You can see the Goblin from Mines of Moria. You can also see the Black Riders, and you see a scene from the War of the Last Alliance. Now, flipping this over, you get a better idea of what's actually in this set. So what you're getting is, you're getting a 128-page full-color rulebook. You're getting 48 highly detailed plastic miniatures, and we'll get into that in a minute. A ruined building and some dice. Would have been much cooler if they gave me a tree and a couple of trees and a hill. That would have been cool too. But hey, you get what you get. So moving on down, you see the rulebook. It's got a beautiful picture of the Black Rider in the Shire looking for the hobbits. He is. And I thought that was kind of cool. You flip it open. If you flip it open, if I don't wreck anything else in here, you know, it's got some pictures, and it basically explains all the rules, what you need, and how things work. It does. So it's kind of cool that way. And then moving down here, I have got my High Elven Swordsman. You get 8 of these guys. I got them painted in gold with blue colors, light blue, dark blue, and some grays. And you move on, you got 8 High Elven Archers. Now, High Elven is kind of a misdemeanor, because in the War of the Last Alliance, these guys would have been from the realm of Lindon, ruled by Gil-galad, and the realm of Imladris, ruled by Elrond, the Half-Elven. They would also have had elves from Lorien, and elves from Orifer, who was Thranduil's father, his kingdom in northern Greenwood the Great, which later became Mirkwood. So they're representing with 16 of these guys. Then you get the Gondorians. You get 8. They're all infantry, all got swords and shields. I would have preferred to have at least 2 bowmen and 2 spearmen for these guys, or a mix of troops. In fact, you get 24 good guys, and I would have liked to have seen 8 elves, 8 Gondorians, and 8 Arnorians, because they never mentioned the Arnorians in the original sets. That comes later, and they're never mentioned in the movie because it's too confusing for people who have never read the books and know absolutely nothing about Lord of the Rings but go see the movie. It's all about pacing and too much information. There's just so much depth in Lord of the Rings. But anyway, moving on, you see you get 4 4 dice, nothing unusual there. In the building itself, the white building, I used a spray paint. I did, which had a rough coat, gray rough coat spray paint, and then I just painted it white over top. So it does have kind of a rough feel and it's a very cheap building, cheap plastic, nothing special. Just used, that's all. And then I have goblins. Here I've got my 8 goblin archers, and I painted them differently, different colors, just to represent different tribes of the Moria goblins. And then over here you see you get 16 more goblins. So you have 24 altogether. 8 of them are bowmen, 8 of them are spearmen, and then 8 of them are swordsmen with a shield. Now I would have preferred having 24 orcs, which would have went in line with the whole War of the Last Alliance idea. I would have rather have done that, and instead of having Moria goblins. In fact, Moria goblins is another misdemeanor. There's no goblins mentioned in the whole Lord of the Rings. Moria was inhabited by orcs from Mordor, because the original orcish goblin population that had been there after the dwarves fled from the Balrog had been decimated during the War of the Dwarves and Orcs, which Thorin Oakenshield and Dane Ironfoot were in, and Balin too. So these were new. So the orcs were actually newcomers from Mordor. Sauron began repeopling Moria with his own orcs. So that's something I would rather have seen. The Moria goblins are just not really good. I use them more as lesser orcs, Snagahai, or Snagahai, however you pronounce that. My pronunciation is not good on this. Anyway, the game itself is very simple. You have a priority phase, 3 for the goblins, 2 for the elves, for the Last Alliance. So the goblins move first, then the good guys. Bowmen shoot next, and then the bowmen, and then if there's a fight, for fighting, you basically have to have 2 guys touching each other to fight. The loser of the fight moves back, and then you go for the kill. So the goblin, let's say, goblin rolls a 1, elf rolls a 4, he won the fight, they move back, and then 6, goblin's dead. There's more to it than that, but that's just basically how it basically works. You have a fight, you consult a chart to see what the defense is, what their armor type is. Shields give you an extra point in defense. What kind of armor you have helps, and the race also helps. If you don't get killed, then it just moves back an inch and then you fight again, and it continues back and forth. There are more advanced rules. The whole rulebook has that. Rulebook has, I believe it's 8 different scenarios. This is basically the setup for the first scenario, the starter scenario. This is how it's set up. It is. And the other scenarios are the attack on Weathertop, the Balin's Tomb and the Mines of Moria, the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, Flight to Lothlorien is the other one, and then they have Amon Hen. So they have 5 scenarios that actually go with the movie itself and with the book, which is kind of cool. But you have to use the other models mostly. So you need the Fellowship of the Ring and all that stuff. But anyway, as a starter set, this is really cool. It's really good. It's a good introduction to the whole game. I think this cost me $80 at the time with taxes, though it might have been more, it might have been less. Not really sure. I just want to bring it out. I love sharing this stuff because I'm really excited about Lord of the Rings in general. And we'll see how the Amazon TV series works out too. Hopefully it's good, but never know. I always liked The Hunt for Gollum, which came out as an independent mini-film. And there's another one about the birth of Aragorn, his parents, which was kind of cool too. So anyway, that's all I have for this one. I'm going to try and do all the other ones here because this is only a fraction of what I actually have. You see, I got other stuff. I got a lot of the blister sets. I always keep the boxes and try and get as much original as I can with these things. I know there's guys that have bigger collections than mine. You don't see the figures in here right now because they're in my garage and it's freezing cold in there. And I just brought these in to stay warm. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments box. Which one you would like to see next or anything like that. If I have it, that's great. If I don't, I'll tell you. And I just ordered a few new ones, and hopefully I'll get those in next week. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thanks.